At the beginning of the film, it is shown that when the gods ruled the earth, the goddess swore that she would take care of her people and always protect them. For this purpose, she uses her power, which was called Cosmo, to make some knights, i.e., some guards who will protect the people. Those knights fight the enemies using the Cosmo power of the goddess and defeat them easily. But as time passed, humans forgot all the gods and goddesses. They just remained as fairy tales, i.e., people forgot the gods and goddesses as if they were never there. But then after 18 years, the same goddess was born in the human form. She was born again. Then a golden knight lost his life and saved the girl's life. After this, in the present time, we see a boy named Seiya who lives on the street because he does not even have a house to live. He keeps remembering his elder sister, who is missing and is always busy trying to find her. Now when he was sitting, he was looking at his sister's picture, that at that time a man who was the owner of the ring, where fights and all are fought, he comes and tells Seiya that your time to fight has come. That's why Seiya starts going towards the ring. The ring owner stops him and says, "Listen to me carefully. Do not go dancing in the ring. You have to fight and fight a lot. I should not get any complaints because the one who is coming to fight in your competition is very brave and powerful. And there is no rule of this fight. It goes on until no one gives up in the end. In the end of the fight, whoever loses, his fight will stop from this ring forever." Now Seiya and that powerful man come face to fight. But the other one was so eager to fight that he pushed the referee with his hand, after which both of them started fighting. Seiya was not fighting properly. He was just trying to stop him when he was hitting his fists and kicks with his legs. As the other man climbed up and started hitting him, Seiya moved back. Then when Seiya fell down, the other man was kicking him again and again, with the help of which Seiya was escaping. Seeing this, the owner of the ring was angry with Seiya, so he himself comes and roams in the ring, goes up a lot and hits a powerful kick to the other man, with which he falls at a far distance. Now it was his turn. Seeing him, just starts moving back. The owner of the ring catches him and hits him on the neck several times. Then he gets up and hits a powerful kick, with which Seiya falls at a distance. Now as Seiya came to attack him, the owner of the ring caught him like a child and hit him from a distance. By hitting him like this, the owner of the ring was punishing him that you did not listen to your boss, although I told you to fight. Then he hits him again and again, dragging him to the net while saying, "Fight me, fight, I told you to fight him. But you did not fight, so now fight." But Seiya did not have so much courage that he could fight, because he was injured. Seeing this, the people there started raising slogans for the owner of the ring. Naoja started trying to come to his senses when he started thinking about his sister. As he came out of his thoughts, his condition became strange and a lot of Cosmo power started coming out of his body, the power of which was so much that the owner of the ring falls far away. Now the owner of the ring gets up again, but Seiya couldn't because of this. The owner of the ring is called a champion. Means he has won this fight, but Seiya gets up and hits him with a powerful kick, with which he falls far away. After doing this, he runs away from here. Seiya goes to the locker room, where everyone's stuff was lying. He was going to pack his stuff and leave, when a man came to him and says, "There is a man who wants to meet you, and he knows everything about your past, even about your sister that she has lost. He can help you find her." There the owner of the ring calls someone and tells that I have met a boy here today, who has cosmic power. Now Seiya was taken to a dark place, where a businessman comes to meet him, who is also a warrior. He tells the story of a war to Seiya and tells that my wife named Vendor is powerful, and she also has a lot of warriors, who also have a lot of powers. She has gone on the wrong path for her purpose. Because of this, I left her, and now she must be coming here to fight me with her friends. And now you have to decide whether you want to support right or wrong, as it is obvious that Seiya is ready to support him, but still his wife Vendor's soldiers come here to wreak havoc. They were so powerful that it was really difficult to stop them. As they come, they picks up her soldiers and kill them. Although these people also face them and try to stop them, but they were so powerful. After suppressing all the soldiers, now they rue Yofterja and that warrior Vendor's husband, so they both quickly ran away from there to save their lives. Vendor's soldiers were chasing them, but then a man who was a pilot from the front comes and saves them. The soldiers who were chasing them, he shoots them and put them in the car and leave from there. Now they felt that we were saved, but the enemy was still chasing them. Bombs were constantly being fired at them. But when nothing happens to them, then missiles are attacked on them to stop them, so that Seiya can be caught, because the target of these enemies was the same. The reason for catching him was that day the cosmic power was seen coming out of him. Now they come to a tunnel to save themselves, where to stop them from going, bullets are fired at them. Large missiles are attacked, but they somehow manage to escape from there. Now Seiya did not understand what was happening here. He had to go, so he asks Vendor's husband about this. Then he tells his pilot companion to make this boy unconscious when Seiya is made unconscious. He thought, in which he sees his sister, that when Seiya was a small child, then her sister was hiding her in the closet, and he was told that whatever happens do not come out. As she started closing the door of the closet, There was an explosion, and the door of the closet closed by itself. After it, a lot of soldiers came in, they had a lot of bombs, and they take Seiya's sister with them. Here Seiya had also seen Vendor. And now as he comes to her senses, he finds himself in a plane, where Vendor's husband and pilot were also with her. Seiya was confused, he did not understand anything. And he wanted to know the truth. Then that man started telling about himself that I am a warrior. You know this, but before that I used to be a huge big businessman. While telling all this, he also shows him things from a long time ago and tells about the initial goddess, that her second birth was in the human form. And now it is your duty, you will take care of that goddess, which is in the human form, because you are very brave, you have to become her guardian, her protector. Seiya does not believe all this, so he was about to leave, but when he talks about his sister, Seiya has to stop, and the warrior tells that, as you know, your sister was kidnapped by my wife and her soldiers. So actually she came to your house because she got a cosmic signal from your house. Then your sister was hiding you in the closet so that your life is saved. Do not get caught by Vendor. After this he introduces you to a boy, who was his own daughter, whose name was Sienna. Now Sienna is no one else, but the human form of the second birth of the goddess, who gives Seiya a box, which had an armor locket. Armor means a metal suit, which is powerful and strong and covers the whole body. This locket was given to him by Sienna because without it he will not be able to defeat the soldiers of Vendor. It was still difficult for Seiya to believe these things. So the warrior says, okay, let's eat first, when our mind will work. Then we will do the next discussion. Vendor went to the owner of the ring with his special man, and scolded him a lot that Seiya ran away from there because of your mistake that day. If you had used your brain a little bit, then he would have been with us today. Now Seiya, Sienna and her dad, means the warrior, are sitting at the table and eating. Here Sienna is impressed with Seiya, how he eats a full spoon of food, eats very well, does not waste even a little food. On it, Seiya says yes, it is like this. We people living on the road, whenever we get food, we eat with such a stomach, because we don't know when we will get food next time. Then the pilot came who takes the warrior out of some work. Seiya and Sienna start talking. Seiya asks him, yes, tell me how are you feeling, because you are a goddess. On this, she says no, I am not at the moment, but when the time comes, I will become a goddess. But this thing worries me a lot. She was telling this thing that at that time her condition started getting worse, because her power control was getting out. Even from inside her purple-colored cosmic power starts coming out, and everything around her turns black. There was darkness, in which this kind of change was hurting Seiya a lot. In the meantime, Seiya's dad, the pilot, and some soldiers came inside. The soldiers could not tolerate her strength. They fell far away. Seeing her condition, Seiya tries to come to her, but the warrior forbids him, saying no, do not go near her, otherwise you will die. Then as everything became normal, Seiya became normal. Then Seiya asks what happened to Seiya. Then Seiya's dad tells that this is the second human form of the goddess, but because the body is of a human, it is very difficult to tolerate the cosmic power of the goddess. Now as the device in this building finds out about this cosmic energy, the building blocks itself so that these signals do not come out, and Vendor does not know about Seiya. Now Sienna tells her in pain, consider me a prisoner here. I am living a life like a prisoner. There, the owner of the ring fights with Vendor's soldier. They were facing each other bravely. Now although the Vendor's soldier was also wearing armor, but still the owner of the ring was trying to fight him. From which Vendor guesses that the owner of the ring is powerful, but not enough to defeat Seiya. So she decides to use her new technology armor on it. On the other hand, Seiya and Seiya talk, and she remembers the day when she was a little girl, and some people were trying to kill her. Then the Golden Knight played on his life and saved his life. Further, Seiya tells that as I am the second birth of the goddess, then it is obvious that I am not the real daughter of Vendor and his husband, he just adopted me. My mom was always busy with her technology to achieve her goal, while her husband took care of me as a father all her life. Here she tells that my sister is also brave, she always took care of me. After it, both of them talk about their own thoughts, after which she decides that to become a good knight, now I will take training from the Silver Knight, so I will understand my cosmic power and find my sister too. The special man of Vendor asks her, why did you decide to use your new technology, O the ring owner? Vendor replies, yes, it is necessary to use this technology, because without it we will not be able to find Seiya, and also not be able to fight. Through this, we can find out where they are, and because this work is risky, so I chose the owner of the ring owner. The next morning Seiya is about to leave for her training, where Seiya gives him a lot of food. They look at each other carefully. It seems that they have fallen in love. So when Seiya comes and sits in the plane, the pilot explains to him that do not expect too much. Nothing will be achieved, because the goddess does not have any friend, she cannot love anyone. This surprises Seiya's dad too, so he asks her, why did you give him food? On it, she says maybe this is her last food, because he is going to take training from Silver Knight, which is not so easy. This training can be lethal. Now when they both reach their destination, she asks the pilot that now where do I have to go? The pilot explains with gestures that you have to go on this rock. After it, Seiya starts climbing the rock. However, there was a storm in the meantime. He kept climbing up and finally, he came up and found a silver knight. Hirja starts telling him about herself that I am also a knight. But I have not come to train so much, but I have come to take training. The silver knight tells him that if you are a knight, then you should know what you have to do first. The protection of the goddess, which is in the human form, means Seiya. Hearing this, Seiya got confused because he come here to take training to become a brave knight and find his sister, not to protect the goddess, on which the silver knight refuses to train him. Seiya says, okay, sorry, I made a mistake. Okay, I will try, so you give me one more chance. Now the silver knight tells him to break a small stone in front of him. Here Seiya tries to break the stone by making his fist, but he hurts his own hand. Seeing this, the silver knight says all the things around us are made of such a special thing that if the knights want, they can finish it at once and make it into ash and blow it away. Now she tells Seiya to focus on herself and feel your power, means the power of the cosmos. But at this moment she started thinking, in which her sister's memories were stopping her from doing this. But still he keeps focusing. Seeing this, the silver knight agrees to give him training in the future. They're in Vendor's building. She used her new technology on the owner of the ring, and today his result had come in front of her. His body was made like a robot machine. The whole body was covered with armor. The owner of the ring was very happy to find his new body, and to test his strength, he started fighting the soldiers. He was able to defeat the soldiers easily, but when he wanted to test his strength on Vendor, he was nothing in front of her. In training, Seiya tries a lot to fight, but the silver knight keeps defeating him easily. She does not let herself be attacked even once. She picks up Seiya and throws him away. Even while fighting, she took him in the air, and with her strength, she picks up all the stones in the air. Then she brings Seiya down and explains the cosmo power is your strength. You have to let it come out. If you want to stay alive in the world and want to fight in the future, then you have to recognize your strength and use it in the war. Seiya sees a dream that a lot of cosmo power is coming out of her. That is out of her control, that the world is being destroyed because of her. She gets scared and starts screaming loudly. Then her dad comes quickly and takes care of her, and he started asking her, "What happened, son?" She tells him that, "Dad, I had a nightmare in it. The whole world is burning, it is being destroyed. And there was no one else to do this but goddess." On the other hand, the silver knight's words had affected Seiya, and now he was fighting bravely. His training was getting better day by day. During this time, he also thinks about his sister again and again, who tells him that, "My brother, I am always with you, and in every good and bad time, I will protect you." When the two were talking at night, the silver knight tells Seiya that, "I know your past is painful, but for now you will have to forget it and be ready for your time to come." The next morning, the training started again, where Seiya was showing his performance very well. He got better day by day, and then finally the time comes when he easily defeats the silver knight, because the moment he hits, she falls far away, which makes Seiya happy. After it, he also breaks the stone in a snap. Now every day he works so hard that he finally gets control over his cosmic power. As this happens, he puts a bigger stone in front of him and hits it hard. Due to it, the stone also breaks into pieces and becomes dust and flies away. With this, his locket flew in the air and began to grow. As it spreads, it becomes big in size. And now he had become a huge armor with a small locket, and slowly begins to come on Seiya's body. During this time, the cosmic power also begins to come out of his body, and he finally becomes a brave knight. Then suddenly he had a severe headache, with which he began to think. He sees that when Vendor kidnapped his sister at that time, Vendor's husband was also there, with which he understood that Vendor's husband is also involved in kidnapping my sister. This makes him furious. That's why he started going to his house, so that the answer can be found. Why did he do this? As soon as he went inside, the pilot and the whole army try to stop him, but then Seiya comes, who holds his hand and brings him out and takes her somewhere far by making him sit on the bike. Reaching there, she tells him what happened and says, "Whatever Dad did, he did it for the good of your sister, because at that time your sister was a child and she could not control her cosmo power." Then she tells, "When I was a child, the powers inside me burst out. Due to this, one hand of my mom Vendor was destroyed. Then my dad used the technology of golden armor and fixed her hand, but it had a bad effect. Since then my mom needs cosmo power to stay alive. That's why she is looking for such children who have cosmo power. Mom kidnapped your sister, but later she found out that the real cosmic power is not in her, but in you. So since then she is also following you, although it discovered that your sister does not have cosmic power. But instead of leaving her, she was kept in protection, because her life was in danger. Actually, everyone thought that she was hiding something, and what she was hiding was nothing but you. Now my mom had found out that the goddess had been reborn. That's why my dad freed all the kidnapped children, in which your sister is also included, because she knew that the goddess's cosmo power would be enough for my mom." The pilot comes and tells Seiya's dad that your wife Vendor is coming to us with her entire army. He says, "I will stay here alone and everyone else should go." Sienna says, promise me that if I lose my control then you will stop me. They were talking meanwhile. Vender's ships come, that's why they have to run away from here. But Sienna did not want to leave her dad alone, that's why she goes back to her house, where a blast happened and Vender's soldiers started entering. As they come, they easily attack all the guards here and kill them, and they broke their entire security. When the pilot started moving toward the plane, the soldiers came in front of him and started stopping him. And here a dangerous fight starts between them. Vender comes here and meets her husband, and when both were talking about their past, Seiya and Sienna come. Now the owner of the ring, who is robotic, comes and starts fighting with Vender's husband. Although he also faces him, but because he was very strong, he easily defeated them. He ran to attack. He catches him and hits him on the wall again and again. With this, she falls there and gets faint. Outside too, a fight breaks out between Sienna and Vender's soldiers where he was hitting them hard. He gets up in the air and kicks them hard. With this, they pile up there. In the meantime, the owner of the ring comes there to fight with Seiya. Seeing this, he also tries to activate his armor so that the armor also sticks to his body. But for some reason, he is not able to activate it, but the owner of the ring immediately starts fighting with him. Although Sienna tries to fight him without armor, but he is not able to stand in front of him for a long time. The pilot also defeats all the soldiers and sits in his plane and immediately leaves from here. Vender's husband does a lot of explosions there to stop his wife, but there is no benefit. Here and there was devastation everywhere, but nothing happened to Vender. Obviously, she was strong. Seiya also falls at a far distance because he had lost to the owner of the ring. Now, where Vender's husband had exploded because of the bomb, he dies. While they take Sienna with them, Vender, who was his mother, brings her to his building, but when Sienna finds out that my dad is dead, she starts crying, being sad. Vender puts her in one place so that Sienna can be killed. Now Vender was sad that I am going to kill my daughter, but it was necessary to do this to save humanity. That's why she tells her special man to start the process immediately. Now when Seiya regains consciousness, he starts looking around, but after not finding Sienna, he became sad. He felt bad that her protection was his responsibility, which he could not fulfill. Then he thought of Silver Knight, who explains to him that who you really have to take care of. When he focused, he saw his childhood and he decides that now I will protect myself and Sienna. After it, I will protect my sister too when I will find her. Now he comes back and goes out to save Seiya with the pilot. Then as he reaches near his building, they find out about their arrival and start shooting at them. Due to this, their plane is out of control, so it is obvious that they had to jump now. But before jumping, Seiya succeeds in activating his armor. Due to it, he easily lands on the ground, and his body was covered with armor. Now as a brave knight, he does everything he wanted to do. Seeing him, the soldiers move forward to kill him, and he kills everyone very easily. At the same time, he kills 2 soldiers, after which he fights with the owner of the ring. He beats him so badly that he spoils many parts of his body. Then he makes him fall down and beats him. Due to this, he lost this fight. And now as the process of killing Sienna started, Vender thinks that I am doing this wrong. That's why she tells her man to stop this process quickly, but he clearly refuses for this thing. Then the Vender orders his soldiers to stop him, but his companions bring their real form in front. By changing the form, he becomes a knight because he had armor on his body too. He kills the soldiers in a single blow. It was found that he used to be good and powerful, but later the demons made him weak. After this, he easily kills the other soldiers. Seeing him, Vender tries to activate her powers and moves forward to face him. But he picks her up and throws her away because Vender was nothing in front of his powers, and he easily defeats him. He kills Vender with his dangerous powers. That's when Seiya comes and stops him from doing this. After it, the fight begins, and while fighting, they came to the roof of the building. Cosmic power was coming out of their bodies, and they were hitting each other equally. They were hitting each other hard. They were so powerful that the buildings around them were breaking with their attack. They were kicking each other. They were flying in the air and hitting each other hard, give each other an equal fight. Because of their fight, there was an explosion. Nothing happens to them, but there was destruction. Vender gets up and uses her remaining powers and stops this process. Meanwhile, Sienna also stood up from her place. She was floating in the air because the goddess was coming out of her body. Seeing this, a knight tries to stop her, but she picks him up and throws him away. Sienna contacts Seiya with her powers and reminds him of his promise when he said, no matter what happens, if she goes out of control, Seiya will come and stop her. Then Sienna comes there and goes to her while saying, if we want, we can change our destiny. Hearing this, Sienna started crying emotionally, and somehow she gets control over herself and stops the goddess from coming out. As everything became normal, everything around was destroyed. Here, Seiya helps Sienna to regain consciousness while putting her in his lap. After coming to her senses, Sienna goes to meet her mom, where Vender apologizes to her. Forgive me, my daughter, I didn't trust you. Sienna forgives her mom and heals her mom with her powers, means now her mom will always be fine. Now she won't need children with cosmic powers to stay alive. Here it was revealed that now Seiya can control her powers, which makes both mother and daughter happy. Now when they were sitting alone, Seiya understood that by waking up the goddess, the attention of all the old gods will also come to us. And because they are dangerous, so to fight them we will have to find more knights and train them to become powerful. But first, the last thing that was left to do was to find Seiya's sister. After it, he will complete his mission and will be ready for the war. With this, the film ends here.